We need to talk about this Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. It is a game changer and not in a good way. Picture this. The highest court in the land just decided that the president is immune from any criminal prosecution while in office. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? Well, listen up, because the potential for fallout is downright terrifying. First off, think about the sheer power this hands over. The president could, hypothetically, commit any crime, yes, any crime, and face zero consequences while in office. We're talking bribery, corruption, even more sinister acts. And all of this would be swept under the rug until they leave office. By then, the damage could be irreversible. Now imagine a president who decides to exploit this immunity to the fullest. They can manipulate elections, silence opposition, and use the nation's resources for personal gain. The checks and balances that are supposed to keep our democracy in check, gone. The president becomes untouchable, a dictator in all but name. And what about the people around the president? This ruling could embolden them too. If the president is immune, why not push the boundaries themselves? Corruption could spread like wildfire through the highest levels of government with no fear of accountability. The rule of law would become a joke, a relic of a bygone era. But it doesn't stop there. This ruling could set a precedent for future presidents. Each one could push the envelope further, knowing they have a get-out-of-jail-free card. Our democracy, built on the principle that no one is above the law, would crumble. We'd be living in a dystopian nightmare where the powerful are untouchable and the rest of us are left to fend for ourselves. Think about the impact on our society. Trust in government would plummet. People would lose faith in the justice system, knowing that the most powerful person in the country is beyond its reach. Civil unrest would become the norm as citizens take to the streets, demanding accountability and justice. The very fabric of our nation could unravel. In this dystopian future, the American dream would be dead. Instead of a land of opportunity and justice, we'd be living in a land of corruption and fear. The Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity could be the first step down a very dark path, and once we start down that path, there's no telling where it will end. Now let's take it a step further. Imagine a president who uses this immunity to target specific groups inciting violence and hatred. Without any legal repercussions, this could escalate to the point of genocide. Entire communities could be wiped out, and the world would watch in horror as America descends into chaos. And what happens when people have had enough? When the injustice becomes too much to bear? Civil war. Citizens could take up arms against each other, fighting for what little justice and freedom remains. The streets would run red with blood, and the nation would be torn apart. So let's not kid ourselves. This ruling is dangerous. It's a threat to our democracy, our justice system, and our way of life. We need to stand up, speak out, and fight for our future where no one, not even the president, is above the law. But that's just all hypothetical.